You need a song sheet. You need, there's a special prayer. It says prayer for those sitting in the safe rooms. We'll have a moment of special prayer and awareness for what's happening in Israel. And then the script for our spiel. And obviously you need a grabber, a noisemaker of some sort. We're not testing it out yet.
Oh, darn, we missed my cue.
Oh, Jack, I have it. I have it.
How are you?
What you looking for, Jack? I think they're out of the lobby.
No, I picked up both sets and I kept one. I kept two copies of one.
What do you need?
Nothing, I found it.
Okay.
I was keeping it.
Just normal trials and tribulations.
Thanks. They're running the groggers. They're over there.
And I got the
There are
Megillah
plenty.
at home.
You can even be ambidextrous. You can have two. You can one in each hand.
I'll be here again.
I guess we should do it. Chag Sameach. Good afternoon. Happy Purim. Glad you could be here. This is going to be a little bit downplayed this year. Nothing overly extravagant. And there are many reasons for it, but we're not going to enumerate those. The time that we spend together will be filled with all of the different emotions that I believe are important to Jewish life. Certainly there's celebration of life. But there's also the recognition of our place in history and our place in the world. There's a recognition that there continue to be those who wish we were not in the world. There's a recognition that there are those who wonder what our role should be, how active, how visible we should be as Jews, and representing, some would call it God's word, some would call it the calling of Israel. We are indeed called upon to be a light to the nations. Sometimes that's an easy call to respond to, but more often it's a very difficult call. After all, the most important phrase in our community, in our history, and in our lives is Shema Yisrael, is listen. And we never know exactly where that voice is coming from. Sometimes it's on high, sometimes it's deep from within us, sometimes it's from the generations before, or even the call of the generations that are yet to come. So many of those emotions, the happiness, the celebration, the pain, the recognition that life indeed is schwer zu sein geht, that it's difficult. It's hard to be Jewish sometimes. We come together today, the 14th day, or soon it will be the 14th day of the Hebrew month of Adar, And in the traditional community, we really should be fasting. The day leading up to Purim is a fast day, Ta'anit Esther. And then there are those who say that just like on Passover, you break your fast with some matzah, that for Purim, you break your fast with a hamantash. So thanks to the sisterhood and everyone who participated, we will have the hamantash afterwards. But if we've been fasting, either physically or emotionally, mentally, for the last, 36 hours or whatever, it's in recognition and in concern and fear an awareness of who and what we are here as we celebrate Purim, and also for our brothers and sisters in the land of Israel. Obviously, our prayers are for peace to come about as soon as possible. Obviously, there are recognitions, and people have been posting, and people have been reading different articles, and people have been doing various kinds of research, and some of us can talk about it later if you'd like, on the connections between the fact that the Jews were able to overcome the king long before they had the word Ayatollah, but the king of Persia, Ahasuerus. In Hebrew, most of the scholars tell us it was Xerxes the first. And for those who believe in using proper names in Scrabble, Xerxes is a great name, right? X-E-R-X-E-X.
Isn't it X-I-R?
Pardon me?
Isn't it X-I-R?
X-E-R.
Oh.
Right. We would catch you if you were
Yeah,
playing
you
Scrabble.
would have, I would.
Because the story of Purim takes place in Persia. Shushan is most likely the present city of Susa, if you, without going into a long lecture on Jewish history, the Jews have consistently had a vital and vibrant presence in Iran. But we recognize and, in essence, certainly give thanks because the leadership of Iran did present an existential challenge, threat to the state of Israel and to Jews everywhere, as well as to America and democracy and freedom and many of those other values that we can celebrate as American Jews today. So we have all these mixed emotions that are connected into the history as well as the present on this day. I did want to acknowledge that, and I asked some of my friends who were here that whether we should do that at the beginning or at the end, and we said let's do that at the beginning. So recognizing that the state of Israel is threatened, recognizing that Israeli forces, American forces, Allied forces are certainly allied against this deep, terrible threat. We pray for a speedy reconciliation, speedy victory, and I wanted to share as well this one prayer. This is being circulated by members of the progressive movement in Israel. And so it's specifically talking to those who are in safe rooms as their lives are threatened, but we can all learn and share in it as well. So we'll do this prayer as our thoughts turn to those in Israel. And if you feel comfortable in rising, I would ask you to do so. We'll have a moment of silence, and then we'll shift gears and move into our celebration of Purim. This was written in Hebrew by Rabbi Miri Regev and then translated into English by Levi Van-Helman. Ribono Shel Olam, Master of all worlds, who lives in the heavens and yet is close to those on the land, be with us now in this time of fear and this time of hope. Strengthen the spirit of all huddled in safe rooms, children and adults. Fill their hearts with patience and the ability to endure. Preserve the free human spirit even at this time. I cried out to God from the narrow place, and I was answered from the expanse. Help us to find an expanse of heart and faith, even in this time of terror and stress. May we fulfill the verse, each person under their vine and fig tree without being troubled. Restore our security and tranquility to our homes forever. Spread your sukkah of shalom over us. Spread your shield of security and protection over us. Even as there are thundering sounds around us, may the verse be fulfilled. May there be shalom in your homes and tranquility in your houses. Take care of those protecting us on land and sea. Strengthen our dedicated defense forces and rescue units as they put themselves at risk. Heal the wounded in body and spirit, O God, heal them. May we merit seeing the vision of Isaiah. They shall beat their swords into plowshares and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift sword against nation. We shall study war no more. We say, Amen. A moment of silence. Ose shalom bimromav, uyase shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, ve'imru amen. Yase shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael, yase shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Yaseh shalom. Yaseh shalom, shalom aleinu, ve'al kol Yisrael. Please be seated. So for more than 2,500 years, our people have been reading Megillat Esther, the scroll of Esther. Introduced with these blessings, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kidshan b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu al mikra Megillah. We praise you, O God, sovereign of existence. You have hallowed our lives with commandments and commanded us to read this story. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam Shashan nisim la'avotenu v'imotenu v'yamim ha'em b'zman hazeh. We praise you, O God, sovereign of existence, who did miracles for our ancestors in these days at this season. And this one I'm sure is familiar to all. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu v'kiyanu v'higianu b'zman hazeh. We praise you, O God, sovereign of existence, who has kept us alive, has sustained us, and enabled us to celebrate this festive day together. You may not be familiar with this blessing. I'll give you the Hebrew, I'll give you a fairly literal translation as well as a new translation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Haravit Rivenu, V'Hadana Didenu, V'Hanokem et Nikmatenu, Hamshalem Gemul, L'chol Oivei Nafshenu, Ufsha'enu Lanu Mitzarenu, Baruch Ata Adonai, Hanifrada Amo Yisrael, Nikol Sarehem, Ha'el HaMoshiach. We praise you, O God, sovereign of existence, who pleads the cause of our justice, God of righteous judgment, who enables us to survive the vicious onslaught of the destroyers. God, you are our deliverance. Or a more modern interpretation. Can't use that left hand. Praised are you, O God of life, whose will it is to end all strife, whose word still hallows Israel's soul, who bade us read Queen Esther's scroll. Because her courage and her will give us strength of spirit still. Strengthen us to keep your ways and help us so to live and sing your praise. Okay, I have a few Hebrew readers who are going to help me. I'll do most of the English. I'll do some of the Hebrew, and then my other Hebrew readers. So let's see, Stephen and Manny will come up here.
Troublemaker already.
Make sure you
Troublemaker with a noisemaker. Right, okay, all right. So, you probably know the drill, but in case there's anybody who doesn't, and if you're gonna turn this on, you have to flick it up. All right. Anybody who doesn't, yeah, that's where I put them. All right. So you can have a mild noisemaker. You can have a rectangular noisemaker. You can have a circular rectangle, Rashan, driver, noisemaker, or you can have the rabbinic.
That is so cool.
Notice I'm using my right hand and not the left. So,
Do you want us to put
here's my
colors
script.
on your wrists?
There it is. All right.
Put different colors on the wrist?
Can I sit, Wes? Can I sit?
Sure.
Okay. Okay. It'll be easier. Vayehi b'mei Achashverosh hu Achashverosh hamalech mehodu ve'ad kush sheva esrim u'mea medina. It came to pass in the days of Achashverosh, who reigned from India even to Ethiopia, over 127 provinces, that in Shushan, the capital, in the 3rd year of his reign, he made a feast unto all his princes and his servants, the army of Persia and Media, the nobles and princes of the provinces, being before him when he showed the riches of his glorious kingdom, the honor of his excellent majesty, many days, even 180 days. Gam Vashti hamalka astad mishte nashim beit hamalchut asher lemelech Achashverosh. And also Vashti, the queen, made a feast for the women in the royal house, which belonged to King Achashverosh. On the 7th day, when the heart of the king was merry with wine, he commanded to bring Vashti the queen before the king with the crown royal. They left out the word only. With only the crown royal, to show the peoples and the princes her beauty, for she was fair to look upon.
But Vashti refused to come at the king's command by the chambermaids. Therefore was the king very wroth, and his anger burned in him. Who knows what happens next? I seem to be missing a page. What happens with Vashti? No, Esther can't answer.
Oh, okay.
You're not here yet. What happens with Vashti? Marcia, what happens with Vashti?
She throned. No. She went away.
She went, that's it? That's all she did was go away?
No, she was beheaded.
She was beheaded.
Oh, what is this, Henry VIII?
No, it's before Henry VIII. Okay, all right. And the king's advisors came to him. Now, if it please the king, let there go forth a royal commandment from him. Let it be written among the laws of the Persians and the Medes, that it not be altered, that Vashti come no more before King Ahasuerus, that the king give her royal estate unto another, one who is better than she. Vaishlach Sepharim et kol medinot hamelech el medina u'medina kichtova ve'el am va'am kil shono lihiyot kol ish sorer beveito u'medaber bilshon amo. Listen carefully, the words of the king. The king did according to the words. He sent letters unto all the king's provinces, unto every province according to the writing thereof, to every people after their language, that every man should bear rule in his own house, and speak according to the language. And speak according, see why I wanted to be the leader here, okay, all right. And speak according to the language of the people. Ish Yehudi haya b'Shushan habira, ushmo Mordechai ben Yair ben Shimi ben Kish ish Yemini. There was a certain Jew in Shushan, the capital, whose name was Mordecai, the son of Yair, the son of Shimi, the son of Kish, a Benjaminite, who had been carried away from Jerusalem with the captives that had been carried away with Jeremiah, with Jechoniah, the king of Judah, whom Nebuchadnezzar, the king of Babylon, had carried away. There will be a test on all these names later. And he brought up Hadassah, that is Esther, his uncle's daughter, for she had neither father nor mother. And the maiden was of beautiful form, fair to look on. And when her father and mother were dead, Mordecai took her for her own daughter, for his own daughter. So it came to pass, when many maidens were gathered together unto Shushan the capital, Esther was taken into the king's house to the custody of the keeper of the women. And the maiden pleased him, and she obtained kindness of him, and he speedily trained her. Esther had not made known her people nor her kindred, for Mordecai had charged her that she should not tell. And Mordecai walked every day before the court of the women's house to know how Esther did and what would become of her. So Esther was taken into King Ahasuerus, into his house royal, in the 10th month, which is the month of Tevet, in the 7th year of his reign. In other words, he had no queen for 4 years, right? Let that sink in. And the king loved Esther above all the women, so that he set the royal crown upon her head and made her queen instead of Vashti. Esther had not yet made known her kindred nor her people, as Mordecai had charged her, for Esther did the commandment of Mordecai, like as when she was brought up with him. In those days, while Mordecai sat in the king's gate, 2 of the king's chamberlains, those that kept the door, were wroth and sought to lay hands on the king. The thing became known to Mordecai, who told it unto Esther the queen. And Esther told the king thereof in Mordecai's name. And when inquisition was made of the matter, and it was found to be so, They were both hanged on a tree, and it was written in the book of the Chronicles before the king. Whew. Okay, chapter 3.
I'm on.
You're on.
אוקיי. אחר הדברים האלה גידל המלך אחשוורוש את המן. המדתה האגגי וינשאו וישם את כיסו מעל כל השרים אשר איתו. וכל עבדי המלך אשר בשער המלך קוראים ומשתחווים להמן. וכן ציווה לו המלך, ומרדכי לא יכרע ולא ישתחווה.
After these things, did King Ahasuerus promote Haman and advanced him, set his seat above all the princes that were with him. And all the king's servants that were in the king's gate bowed down and prostrated themselves before Haman. For the king had so commanded concerning him. But Mordecai bowed not down, nor prostrated himself before. Now it came to pass when they spoke daily unto him, and he hearkened not unto them, that they told Haman to see whether Mordecai, oh yes, okay.
Want my glasses?
No. Whether Mordecai would stand to see, oh, okay, right. And when Haman saw that Mordecai bowed not down, nor prostrated himself before him, that Haman was full of wrath. It seemed contemptible in his eyes to lay hands on Mordecai alone, for they had made known to him the people of Mordecai. Wherefore Haman sought to destroy all the Jews that were throughout the whole kingdom of Ahasuerus, even all the people of Mordecai. And Haman said unto King Ahasuerus, that's your cue, thing.
אוקיי. ויאמר המן למלך אחשוורוש, ישנו עם אחד מפוזר ומפורד בין העמים בכל מדינות מלכותך, ותתיהם שונות מכל עם, ואת תתי המלך אינם עושים, ולמלך אין שווה להניחם.
So Haman said to King Ahasuerus, there is a certain people scattered abroad and dispersed among the peoples in all the provinces of thy kingdom. Their laws are diverse from those of every other people. Neither keep they the king's laws, therefore it profiteth not the king to suffer them. If it please the king, let it be written that they shall be destroyed. Letters were then sent by post unto all the king's provinces to destroy, to slay, and to cause to perish, in case no one understood, all the Jews, both young and old, little children and women, in one day, on the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar, and to take the spoils of them for a prey. Now, when Mordecai knew all that was done, Mordecai rent his clothes, put on sackcloth with ashes, went out into the midst of the city, and cried with a loud and a bitter cry. That's your cue. Loud and bitter cry. And Esther's maidens and her chamberlains heard, and came and told it to her. And the queen was exceedingly pained. Mordecai told of all that had happened unto him, unto the king. Mordecai told all that had happened to him, and the exact sum of the money that Haman had promised to pay to the king's treasuries for the Jews, to destroy them. He gave them a copy of the writing of the decree that was given out in Shushan to destroy them. Show it to Esther and declare unto her to charge her that she should go to the king to make supplication unto him and to make request before him for her people. Mordecai pleaded, or pled, whichever, with Esther, think not within thyself that thou shalt escape to the king's house more than all the Jews. For if thou altogether holdest thy peace at this time, then will relief and deliverance arise to the Jews from another place. But thou and thy father's house will perish. And who knoweth whether thou art not come to royal estate for such a time as this? Mordecai was wise, but I didn't like his English. Now it came to pass that Esther put on her royal apparel and stood in the inner court of the king's house, over against the king's house. The king sat upon his royal throne, over against the entrance of the house, and was so, when the king saw Esther the queen standing in the court, she obtained favor in his sight. The king held out to Esther the golden scepter that was in his hand. So Esther drew near and touched the top of the scepters. Then the king said to her, the king and Mordecai must have gone to the same school. What wilt thou, Queen Esther? For whatever thy request, even to the half of the kingdom, it shall be given thee. Esther said, Esther learned English differently, all right? If it seems good for the king, let the king and Haman come this day unto the banquet that I have prepared. Then the king said, cause Haman to make haste, so it may be done as Esther hath said. So the king and Haman came to the banquet that Esther had prepared. The king said to her, whatever thy petition, it shall be granted thee. Whatever thy request, even to the half of thy kingdom, half of my kingdom, not yet, it shall be performed. Then answered Esther and said, my petition and my request is, if I have found favor in the sight of the king, if it please the king to grant my petition and to perform my request, let the king and Haman come to the banquet that I shall prepare for them, and I will do tomorrow as the king hath said. Then, that very day, Haman went forth joyful and glad of heart. But when he saw Mordecai in the king's gate, and that Mordecai stood not up nor moved for him, Haman was filled with wrath. He nevertheless restrained himself, went home, and he sent and fetched his friends and Zeresh his wife. Haman recounted unto them the glory of his riches and the multitude of his children and everything as to how the king had promoted him, how he had advanced him above the princes and servants of the king. Haman said, moreover, yes, Esther the queen did let no one come in with the king unto the banquet that she had prepared, except myself. And tomorrow also I am invited by her together with the king. Yet all this, Haman went to the same school. Yet all this availeth me nothing, so long as I see Mordecai the Jew sitting at the king's gate. Then said Zeresh his wife and all his friends unto him, let a gallows be made of 50 cubits high, and in the morning speak then unto the king, that Mordecai may be hanged thereon. Then go thou in merrily with the king unto the banquet. The thing pleased Haman, And he caused gallows to be made. Okay, Manny, are you?
הלילה ההוא נדדה שנת המלך, ויאמר להביא את ספר הזיכרונות דברי הימים, ויהיו נקראים לפני המלך. Sorry to disappoint you, no Haman here.
Just wait, we'll get there. On that night, the king could not sleep. He commanded to bring the book of records of the Chronicles. They were read before the king, and it was found written that Mordecai had told of two of the king's chamberlains, those that kept the door, who had sought to lay hands on the king. The king said, "What honor and dignity hath been done to Mordecai for this?" Or some of us remember it was, "What shall be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor?" Did you ever sing it then? What shall be done to the man? Anyway, I digress. The king's servants ministered to him. There is nothing done for him. The king said, "What the heck? No. Who is in the court?" Now Haman had come into the outer court of the king's house to speak unto the king to hang Mordecai on the gallows that he had prepared. And the king's servants said unto him, "Behold, sire, Haman is in the court." And the king said, "Let him come in." So Haman came in. The king said to him, "What shall be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor?" Spelled Honour. Now Haman said in his heart, "Whom should the king delight to honor?" Honour, besides myself. Let the apparel and the royal horse be delivered to the hand of one of the king's most noble princes, that they may array the man therewith whom the king delighteth to honor, cause him to ride on horseback through the streets of the city, proclaim before him, thus shall it be done to the man whom the king delighteth to honor, Honour. Then the king said to Haman, maketh haste, take the apparel and the horse, as thou hast said, and do even so to Mordecai the Jew, that sitteth at the king's gate. Let nothing fail of all that thou hast spoken. Then did Haman take the apparel and the horse, and arrayed Mordecai, and caused him to ride through the streets of the city, proclaiming before him, thus shall it be done unto the man whom the king delighteth to honor. Honour. And Mordecai returned to the king's gate, but Haman hastened to his house in mourning, having his head covered. And Haman recounted unto Zeresh his wife and all his friends everything that befell him. Then the wise men and Zeresh his wife said unto him, if Mordecai, before whom thou hast begun to fall, be of the seed of the Jews, thou shalt not prevail against him, but shalt surely fall before him. And while they were yet talking, came the king's chamberlains, hastening to bring Haman to the banquet that Esther had prepared.
ויבוא המלך יזריש העם לשתות עם אסתר המלכה, ויאמר מלך לאסתר ביום השני משתה היין, מה שאלתך אסתר המלכה, ותינתן לך, מה בקשתך עד חצי המלכות תעש.
Sounds so much better in Hebrew. So the king and Haman came to the banquet with Esther the queen. The king said again unto Esther on the second day at the banquet of wine, he still hasn't learned English, whatever thy petition, Queen Esther, it shall be granted thee. Whatever thy request, even to the half of the kingdom, it shall be performed for thee. Then Esther the queen answered and said, if I have found favor in thy sight, O king, if it please the king, let my life be given me at my petition, and my people at my request. For we are old, I and my people, to be delivered, to be slain, and to perish. Then the door rang. And the character who's not in the Megillah came inside. Okay. Then spoke the king unto Esther. Who is he? Where is he? Why did he ring the doorbell? Why didn't he just give it up? Who is he? Where is he? That, you don't realize how difficult it is to read this. That dost presumeth in his heart to do so. And Esther said, an adversary and an enemy, even this wicked Haman. And Haman was terrified before the king. Haman was terrified before the queen. And the king rose in his wrath from the banquet of wine and went into the palace garden. But Haman remained to make a request for his life to Esther the queen, for he saw that there was evil determined against him by the queen and the king. Then said one of the chamberlains that were before the king, behold also the gallows 50 cubits high, which Haman made for Mordecai, who spoke good for the king. It standeth in the house. Standeth in the house of Haman. And the king said, hang him thereon. So they hanged Haman on the gallows that he had prepared for Mordecai, and the king's wrath was assuaged. Then the king's scribes called to every city and gathered for the Jews to gather themselves together, to stand for their life, to slay all the forces of the people and province that would assault them upon one day, namely upon the 13th day of the 12th month, which is the month of Adar. The copy of this writing to be given out for a decree in every province was to be published unto all the people, and that the Jews should be ready against that day to avenge themselves on their enemies. Thanks to F-15s and Patriot missiles and everything else, they were able to do this. Did I give you one more line, Manny?
Yeah.
Okay, you're on.
ומרדכי יצא מלפני המלך בלבוש מלכות, תכלת וחור ועטרת זהב גדולה, ותכריך בוץ וארגמן, והעיר שושן צהלה ושמחה. ליהודים הייתה אורה ושמחה וששון ויקר, ובכל מדינה ומדינה בכל עיר ועיר. מקום אשר דבר המלך ודתו, מגיע שמחה וששון ליהודים, משתה ויום טוב, ורבים מטמאי הארץ, מתייחדים כי נפל פחד היהודים עליהם. And you're allowed to get drunk on Purim.
Right.
It's a
Okay.
mitzvah.
And this part of this, the concluding paragraph, we don't necessarily share in the Sunday schools, right? Mordecai went forth from the presence of the king in the apparel of blue and white. So that's how long we've had blue and white as our colors, right? Okay. And with a great crown of gold, with a robe of fine linen and purple, and the city of Shushan shouted and was glad. The Jews had light and gladness and joy and honor, and in every province, in every city, wheresoever the king's commandment and his decree came, the Jews had gladness and joy, a feast and a good day, because they were able to slay all of Ahasuerus's good citizens and such. So that's the traditional, give or take, that's the traditional reading of the Megillah. My thanks to Dovrei Ivrit, okay, to Steve and to Manny. Now we have a little shift, okay? You should have in front of you, change of the scene and everything here. You should have in front of you a copy of the script with which we are going to continue. Okay? All right. everybody have a copy of the script?
Yeah.
Because you're important in this, all right? In case you couldn't tell,
Esther
they are.
is Esther.
Esther, stand for the chair.
Esther is Hadassah, right?
I'm Kamali.
The beautiful Esther.
And they trying to work around that crown.
No. I just promoted myself.
You promoted yourself to
No.
Wild West.
No, I will
Akash?
explain. Ahasuerus was the king of kings. He was the emperor of Persia. Now, being the king is good, but being an emperor is even better. And that's what he was. And I won't take a demotion.
Even before she became queen, she's getting him to sit down.
You know, I have to say yes, chef, to him every day. Say yes, Emperor.
So, okay, so the way we're gonna do this, and again, with apologies and disclaimers that this is a little less extravagant than some of the previous years, okay? And my ladies in waiting are still waiting, and, okay, Shelley, I got it, all right, okay. So this is meant to be choral reading, so to speak. You read what's in italics,
Okay.
okay? So I'm assuming that we all went to a school where you understand that, all right? So the group, I'm the leader, the group reads what's in italics, and then when it says, like, for example, King Aha, who thinks he's an emperor, he's gonna read his part, or Esther, Mordecai, and the others. We'll get a little confused, because I didn't notice when Stacy and I first copied this, we didn't notice it said east side, west side.
All around the town.
Okay, and all around the town, right, thanks, New Yorkers. All right, and since that side, that would be east, so, okay, so we're gonna do, just half and half, all right? So this side will be east, that side will be west. Where it says men and women, I trust that you can tell, which part you're supposed to read, okay, all right? And if anybody wants to add a little bit of your own personal humor, that's fine. All we have left after this is a couple songs and Hummentaschen, so, and a violin, so, all right, okay, all right. The origins,
There's north side and south side.
north side and south side?
We'll be north as well.
Right, yeah, we'll make it work, okay, all right. The origins of Purim are shrouded in history. No one is certain that the events told in the book of Esther actually occurred, or if so, I better stop this, or if
So, when? Taken at face value, the story suggests that it took place a couple of generations after the destruction of Jerusalem in 586 BCE. So if you remember what I did before, so who was the king who led to the destruction in 586 BCE? Nebuchadnezzar, right? See, okay, some of you were paying attention. All right. After the Persian Empire conquered the Babylonian Empire, okay, that had destroyed Judea and Jerusalem. Okay. Regardless of its original veracity, the story has taken on a life of its own, and Jews through the past 2,000 years have understood the events described in the book of Esther to have the potential for occurring at any time, even though the occurrences of the present time have occurred on the weekend in Shabbat leading into Purim. Some of you may know that the Shabbat right before Purim is called Shabbat Zachor, because Zachor, who knows what Zachor means? Okay. Remember, okay? That's the Shabbat that we read the extra Torah portion that talks about Amalek. Remember what Amalek did to you, attacking you, and always is your eternal enemy. Okay? And so obviously in the story, I didn't necessarily include it, but in the story, Haman is descended from Amalek,
And you certainly have the people who are now saying that Khamenei must have been descended from, from Amalek. So that's our history, and we go from there. All right. So again, you read what's in italics. Ahasuerus.
What?
Mordecai. Let us tell of Esther. Haman. In the days of Ahasuerus, king of Persia, ruler of 127 provinces from India to Ethiopia, a royal banquet was given in the palace of Shushan in Susa. Okay, you can sing with me, right? When you are Persian in the mood for diversion, you can always go Shushan, looking for action. Well, here's an attraction, just run on down Shushan. Just listen to the bustle of the crowded market square. Exotic girls will hustle you and you won't have a care. How can you lose? The climate is hotter there. You can forget all your clothing, forget underwear, and go Shushan, where every girl can dance. Shushan, you may forget your pants. Shushan, everyone's waiting for you. This is a different Megillah, obviously. Shushan the palace with white cotton curtains and blue hangings, fine linen with silver rings,
And couches of gold and silver on a pavement of marble.
and royal wine in golden goblets. Such was the court of Ahasuerus.
And where's King Vashti?
Bring her to me.
Commanded the king. You can do it a little stronger. You're an emperor, you said.
Emperor. But I've got an Esther that is
Oh,
emperor.
okay. All right.
I'm not on the scene yet.
You know, well, that's good.
Anyway, all right.
Bring her before me.
Commanded the king. And the 7 eunuchs, we don't have eunuchs here, so at least I'm not asking for volunteers. The 7 eunuchs who served as his chamberlains went to fetch her. The king was enraged, and his anger burned within him. He turned to his advisors and asked their opinions.
She has done wrong, not only to you, but to all the people in all your provinces. Her example will be imitated by other women, and they too will look with contempt upon their husbands. She may start a movement. They will burn their bras and do other things. Terrible things. Terrible things. Who are willing to live lives independent of men? Far and wide they will tell the story of how the king was made to look foolish by a queen.
Replace her with another. And so it was done.
Let beautiful young girls be sought out for the king. Gather them in Susa the capital, and let them be made in the best places the king be then and be queen.
So it was done. They held the first Miss Persia contest in a beach resort called Gulf City. Now there lived in the capital a Jew by the name of Mordecai. He had a beautiful cousin who he had raised. Her name was Esther. She was the daughter of Mordecai's departed uncle.
May the rest in peace.
Esther also applied for the contest, was taken into the king's palace. But before she left, Mordecai cautioned her not to mention that she was a Jew.
Now be too careful.
Which is nothing new for the Jews. Upon seeing Esther, the head eunuch in the king's harem favored her. He quickly provided her with a credit card and ointments and her portion of food, and gave her 7 maids from the king's palace, and advanced her to the best place in the harem.
And he told her.
He prepared her for the moment when she would go before the king. She learned how to play piano, read stories dramatically, and play a good game of chess.
The story began. One by one, the young women visited the king, and then were moved to the second harem, thus becoming concubines.
And each did not see the king again.
unless the king delighted in her and she was summoned by name. For to enter the royal court before being called by name was to sign one's own death certificate. One by one, night after exhausting night, the young women visited the king. Then it was Esther's turn. Now you see why we're not acting this out, right? Okay, all right. Then it was Esther's turn. The king, upon seeing her, loved her more than all the women. She did as the eunuch had coached her. She found grace and favor in the king's sight more than all the other girls. And so he set the royal crown on her head and made her queen. Then the king gave a great banquet for all the princes and all the officials in the 127 provinces, from India to Ethiopia. It was Esther's banquet. All hail, Queen Esther.
Hail!
Need two hails, right? And Mordecai sat by the White House gate, kibitzing. It was here that he overheard two of the king's eunuchs talk of overthrowing the king. Mordecai told of it to Esther, to Queen Esther. She told of it to the king. The co-conspirators were hung, and Mordecai's name was put into the book of the Chronicles. Amidst these events, the king promoted Haman. His seat was placed above all the princes who were with him, and all the king's servants who were at the king's gate were to bow down and do homage to Haman. For the king had so commanded concerning him. He was now second only to the royal throne. J.D. Haman. Right? And Haman danced, almost got you. Haman danced through the corridor. I did get you.
Second only to the royal throne. What a glorious day. What a magnificent day. Fabulous day. Kalu Kale.
Good rhyme. As he left the palace, all those who stood at the king's gate bowed before the new premier. All bowed low, all that is, but Mordecai. He alone would not bend his face to the ground. And when Haman saw that Mordecai did not bow,
He became enraged,
incensed.
inflamed.
All bowed before their new premier, all but this Mordecai, all showed their homage, spelled H-O-M-A-G-E. All this but this Jew. No, the Jew only bowed before his God, rising to declare the unity of the divine.
Understand this, Israel?
Wait. Let Mordecai do his thing.
He has a line first.
I have two lines, and you just took one away.
Go ahead, we're waiting for you.
Yes, we
Okay.
are.
Shema Yisrael, Adonai Eloheinu, Adonai Echad.
Understand this, Israel, the living, breathing presence of God throughout all space and time, because our God, His presence is one.
And Haman decided to destroy all the Jews in the 127 provinces from India to Ethiopia. To determine the date of this pogrom, Haman cast Purim, or lots, pickup sticks, the I Ching, dice, tarot cards, till he decided on the 12th month Adar, and then he went to the king.
There are these Jews, a strange people who have managed to infiltrate every town and village. They are not like normal subjects of the king. Their customs are different. They refuse to obey the king's laws. Therefore, let it be decreed that they be destroyed, and I will pay you 10,000 talents of silver.
And the king, in his greed, so decreed.
Without batting an eye. Letters were sent
To each province, to each prince, to each official, to every people in every language.
destroy, slay, annihilate all Jews, young and old, women and children in one day, the 13th day of the 12th month of Adar.
This the king decreed.
Without batting an eye. On hearing the decree, Mordecai rent his clothes. He put on sackcloth and ashes, and he went out into the midst of the city, wailing with a loud and bitter cry.
And in every province wherever the king's command was posted, there was great mourning among the Jews, and fasting and weeping and lamenting with sackcloth and ashes.
Mordecai, sitting again at the king's gate, sent word to Esther of what had happened. and charged her to go to the king to make supplication to him and to entreat him for her people.
I cannot go to the royal court without his calling for me by name. Otherwise, I will be put to death.
Talk to the emperor. Why are you talking to
No,
him?
it says talking to Mordecai. That I can't go. He was sending me to go.
I was just so impressed by your performance on it. You cannot keep silent at a time like this. Perhaps it was for this very moment that you have come to this kingdom.
Gather all the Jews to be found here in Syria and hold a fast on my behalf. Neither eat nor drink for 3 days. Then I will go to the king.
So, 3 days. You're no longer the president. Sorry.
I've been told that already.
On the 3rd day, Esther put on her royal robes. We'll all say this together, okay? Dear Adonai, be with me in this hour.
Grant that I may have the courage to face the king unafraid, and let me have the right words to speak well the cause of my people. Make me the instrument of their deliverance, that this evil hour may soon pass. God, open my lips that my mouth may speak your praises.
So Esther stood in the inner court of the king's palace, opposite the king's hall. But the king did not kill her. Instead, he held out the golden scepter that was in his hand. What is it, Queen Esther? What is your request? It shall be given to you even to the half of my kingdom. Esther moved forward to touch the tip of the scepter that was extended to her, recognizing her.
And Esther invited the king and Haman to sit down.
What is your request? Do you want a American Express card? Never mind. Would you like a subscription to I don't even know what? Shall I up my pledge to Greenpeace? What I want to give you is what you need.
Esther again invited him to their
Esther was asked to be on America's Worst Cooks. This was a TV show, and this is not a joke. She was asked to do it because she is really one of America's worst cooks. However, I was going to get you lessons with Padma Lasher.
I thought they gave a cooking lesson.
Where are we?
Where
are we?
You're next.
You're next. Come along.
And Haman swelled.
And Haman swelled with pride, for only he had been invited to these dinners.
Joyful and glad hearted until he saw Mordecai.
Ah, yes, Mordecai. Despite the growing splendor of his riches, the number of his sons, the despised decree, all the promotions and all the honors, spelled without a U, despite all this, Haman's joy was not full. For he still had to look upon Mordecai sitting there on Pennsylvania Avenue.
In the morning, Saul came to hang Mordecai. Then early was the king to dinner.
The idea of a well-hung Mordecai pleased him. So the gallows was built. I know you're laughing at the. You're laughing at the question. Is English gallows singular or plural? Right. Anyway, meanwhile, the king could not sleep. He had eaten too much wonderful food prepared by his Esther after her cooking lessons. It was the liquor and the chocolate cups that had done him in. He lay awake, tossing and turning. So he commanded that the book of the Chronicles be read. Its boring contents invariably put him to sleep. His attendants read to him in a slow, droning voice so unlike Esther's, and whose name should be written there. Turn the page. You got your part. Right.
What honor or dignity has been bestowed on this Mordecai for saving my life?
The king asked. And the answer was? None.
who is presently in the outer court?
The king asked. Faithfully, the answer was,
Let him come in.
and when Haman was before him, the king then asked,
What shall be done to the men whom the king wishes to honor?
all thoughts of hanging Mordecai fled. Tears began to gather in Haman's eyes. So humble was he at being further honored, and his reply, befitting the moment, was short and modest.
Robe the man in the royal Brooks Brothers. Seat him in the royal limo. Command a minister to guide him through the streets.
Make haste. Take my pinstripe and Cadillac, as you have said, and do so to Mordecai, the Jew who sits at my gate.
Misery and pain.
And one large ache everywhere.
So felt Haman as he left the palace and did as the king had commanded. His wife and friends saw in this the beginning of Haman's fall, and his winter and spring and summer. At the second dinner, Ahasuerus again asked Queen Esther,
What is your petition? It shall be granted you.
If I have found favor in your sight, and if it pleases you, give me my life and the life of my people.
There we go.
What is this?
the confused king asked.
We are sold, I and my people, to be destroyed, to be slain, and to be annihilated.
The blind king
What people?
asked the king.
The Jews, for I am a Jew.
Funny you don't look Jewish.
Then Haman blanched.
Yes, with a name like Esther. Esther Ruth Levine, yes.
Your turn.
The king,
Emperor.
Who is he? Who is he? Where is he? What would presume to do this?
Asked the king again, conveniently forgetting his own decree.
a foe and an enemy. Haman!
The king then rose from the feast in wrath and went into the palace garden. A distraught Haman threw himself before the raging queen, begging and pleading. The king then returned to see Haman fallen on the couch where Esther lay.
Will he even assault the queen in my presence? In my own house yet?
As the words left the mouth of the king, they covered Haman's face. So it was done. But the decree was not yet revoked, and it was nearing the 13th of Adar. So Esther went before the king.
If it pleases the king,
And if I found favor in your eyes,
and if there are things seem right before the king,
And if it be pleasing in your eyes, for how can I endure to see the calamity that is coming to my people? How can I endure the destruction of my kindred? It was done. Letters were sent to each province, to each prince, to each official, to every people and every language, from India to Ethiopia. The messengers who carried the letters rode swift horses and Etihad Airlines, Emirates, Qatar Airlines, whatever. Those that could still fly. Bread from the royal stud. What did the letter say? On the 13th day of the 12th month of Adar, the Jews in every city should gather and defend their lives, to destroy, to slay, to annihilate any armed force of any people that might attack them.
many people of the country declared themselves Jews for fear that the Jews might fall upon them.
And on the 13th of Adar, the day the enemies of the Jews were to annihilate them, they gained mastery over their foes, and no one could make a stand against them, for the fear of them had fallen upon all peoples.
And they slew 75,000 of those who hated them. 500 Jews alone. But they laid no hands on the plunder.
And on the 14th day and on the 15th day, they rested.
And they called it before, after the watch was cast.
Okay. Second song.
All the Jews now laugh and sing, laugh and sing, laugh and sing. All the Jews now laugh and sing, dear Ahasuerus. All the Jews now laugh and sing, laugh and sing, laugh and sing. All the Jews now laugh and sing, dear Ahasuerus.
So that Haman, what a word.
He was made prime minister, second in rank to the king. And he was great among the Jews and popular with the multitude.
And what of Esther?
Who can find words to speak of her glory?
Not I, Lord, not I.
Therefore, look at the sunrise, and let it speak of our beautiful queen. All hail, Queen Esther.
Thank you to our amazing cast.
It wasn't hard, but somebody had to do it.
Not yet. Yeah, I think we're going to sing some songs.
Song sheets. Not the side that says Happy Day of Purim. The verse side. Chag Purim, Chag Purim, Chag Gadol Hu Layudim, Masechot Rashanim, Zmirot Rikudim. Havala Risha, Rush, Rush, Rush. Havala Risha, Rush, Rush, Rush. Havala Risha, Rush, Rush, Rush. Barashanim. Okay, or in a city known as Shushan, with Achashverosh the king, Vashti was replaced by Esther when he gave her the royal ring. Esther kept from the king a secret, though she could not tell him why. She was Jewish from our nation, like her cousin Mordecai. Evil Haman was prime minister over all the Persian lands. He wanted each one to obey him, to bow down and raise their hands. But the Persian Jews, led by Mordecai, weren't afraid to stand up tall. We will bow only to our God, will not worship him at all. So the wise king and Queen Esther put this evil man away, and they wrote this happy story for our Purim holiday. Have a hamantash, wave your grummer, sing and smile, dance and tell. Purim's light is for all ages, Esther's tale we love to tell. You might know Utsu Eitzaveh Tufah, Utsu Eitzaveh Tufah, Utsu Eitzaveh Tufah, Dabru Davar Velo Yaakov Ki Immanuel. Utsu Eitzaveh Tufah, Dabru Davar Velo Yaakov Ki Immanuel. Utsu Eitzaveh Tufah, Dabru Davar Velo Yaakov. Utsu Eitzaveh Tufah, Dabru Davar Velo Yaakov Ki Immanuel. Utsu Eitzaveh Tufah, Dabru Davar Velo Yaakov Ki Immanuel. Okay, so we have one of these classic Purim debates. We'll have to have a vote. Okay? Do we sing in Shushan long ago?
Yes.
Or do we sing Once There Was a Wicked, Wicked Man?
Once
We
there
don't
was
do
a
both.
wicked man.
We don't do both.
Wicked man.
So, okay, how many want in Shushan?
Keep your hands down.
How many want in Wicked, Wicked Man? Got it. Oh, once there was a wicked, wicked man, Haman was his name. He lied and lied about the Jews, but they were not to blame, sir. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be, and not some hamantash. And Esther was the lovely queen of King Ahasuerus.
When Haman said he'd marry us all, oh my, how he did scare us. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be, and not somehow mentation. But Mordecai, her cousin bold, said he's got us in a pickle. If we don't hand at once, my dear, our lives aren't worth a nickel or a shekel. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be, and not somehow mentation. When Esther speaking to the king of Haman's plot they made, aha, said he, oh no he won't, I'll spoil his bad intention. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be, and not somehow mentation. And so my friend came to an end, this clever Mr. Smarty, says he became a wiser man at Esther's little party. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be. Oh, today we'll merry, merry be, and not somehow mentation. Okay, last debate or vote between Puff, the Happy Day of Purim, to the melody of Puff, or Hey Jews to the melody of Hey Jude.
Hey, Jude.
Okay, all right. How many want Puff? How many want Hey Jude? Last song. It's the last song. Okay. Hey Jews, don't be afraid. Esther saved us and made it better. Remember how she and Mordecai foiled Haman's lies and gave us Purim. Hey Jews, let's all be proud. Take this glad day and make it better. Remember our history and our task to make God's word last and make the world better, 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 better. La 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 la. La 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 la. Thanks to everyone. Thanks to those who sat up here and participated. Thanks to all of you. Thanks to Les for streaming for us. To those who are at home. And Hamantaschen are in the back. And Steve Bear is going to give us some music in the background. Chag Sameach and a prayer for peace.